Hi, I'm Rachel Morgan, and I am a sales coach for luxury retail. And I work with you and your team to help increase your sales by increasing your customer lifetime value, elevating your customer experience, and working with your team to increase your sales performance. Today, I have invited Catherine Dahl, who is a networking strategist and owner of Network in Action in Kirkland and Redmond, Washington, to come chat with me. She has such a passion for helping businesses grow and utilizes her expertise and leadership skills to connect local business owners and provide valuable resources and business solutions to help them succeed. I met Catherine through a local chamber here in the city of Kirkland and was instantly impressed with her level of customer service and her etiquette. Truly, such a gift to have. I knew she was the perfect person to teach us how to network, and I'm truly beyond thrilled to do this live with her and also to do a workshop, which we'll talk about towards the end. So in today's live, we're going to discuss why networking is so important and what you can expect out of our live workshop. And make sure to leave any important questions that you have in the comments so that we can address them for you. And we're also happy to answer any burning questions that you have. So for everyone that's joining, hello. It's so nice to see you. Hello, Mathilde. We're just waiting for Catherine to get here. Oh, Catherine is here. I love it. So if you're not familiar with what Catherine and I have been up to, we put together this amazing workshop on how to network, but also convert that into sales, because networking is such a beautiful lead gen strategy. So it's something that with time comes a little bit of skill set, but it can also be one of the most rewarding things as well. So let's go ahead and get her on here so we can chat more about that. And again, while you're waiting, please leave any questions that you have for us, and we're happy to answer them for you. So, okay, hello.
How are you, Rachel?
I'm
Great to see you again.
so good. Yes, wonderful to see you too. I love it. You're always so cheery. I love it. You just so much positivity radiates from you.
It's nice to see your face this morning since we just had our audio event. I'm like, oh, there she is.
Yes, yes. We just did a LinkedIn audio event as well to answer some questions. So I'm so excited to do this with you again. You're the best collaborative partner.
Oh,
I
same
love it.
to you. I feel like very easy for the two of us to work together.
Yes, yes. I love it. Well, Catherine, I would like to know really quickly, how did you get started in networking and owning NIA?
Oh, great question. Yes, so fun fact for all of you, I own a Network in Action franchise. Those are all throughout the US. And well, networking helped me get there. It was probably 2019, and I had my own consulting firm, and I was working with franchises, and I actually managed some international franchises, all throughout Europe. And I reached out to a gentleman who owned a program that I was looking at licensing. And he said, oh, you should meet Scott Talley, the founder of Network in Action. He's a franchisor and he's looking to expand. So he connected us. And Scott originally brought me in to talk about taking Network in Action international. And I said, there's so much opportunity here that you should just focus on the US. And he said, we should. Do you want to help with that? And I said, let me think on that. And so I joined him. And then a turn of events took, I was helping him with franchise development. I really fell in love with the concept of how we were able to help business owners, connect them, provide them with trusted resources. And I had the opportunity to move to Washington with my husband, and there wasn't a Network in Action franchise there. And I said, I need to bring this to the people in Washington. And so here we are today. And yes, I started a networking franchise during the pandemic.
Yes, but you're thriving and you're killing it. And I swear everyone knows you. No matter where I am in Washington, they're like, oh yeah, I know Catherine. So that just shows how amazing you are at networking and connecting with people and truly someone to listen to, right? So
thank you so much. It's very kind.
So in your words, I would love to know, why do you feel like networking is so important? Because oftentimes we like know it's important, but we don't always see the value in it. So I would love to hear from you why you feel it's so important.
I think people often relate networking and the value of it to what business did they get out of it. That I feel like that seems to be their very first go-to thought. But when you really think about the definition of networking, it's people connecting for resources to either do business together or to collaborate or just to know and get to better understand and educate one another. The sales piece doesn't have to be a part of it, right? But the reason networking is so important is meeting one person can completely change your life, your career, your business, your job, and you never know when you're going to meet that person. So any opportunity you have to meet people, go into it with an open mind and just genuinely be yourself and be interested in those people, because some really amazing things can come from that. I would have never had a Network in Action franchise if it wasn't for that one call and that person connecting me to the founder of Network in Action.
What a full story moment for you.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. It is really important because you're meeting people where they're at, and you're also expanding your network. And it's like, I was like really thinking about this the other day, just networking. I've never felt more involved in my community, and we all want to do something that's meaningful. And I truly don't feel like I've ever had anything this meaningful before, where I really feel like I can make a difference in the community and people's lives, and but also like grow a business, right? And so to me, networking has just been this really fulfilling activity.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll share a quick story. As I mentioned, I moved from Texas and I was born and raised there. When I was there, I only owned my business for a very short time before we moved here. And my careers prior to that, I worked in corporate. And so networking looked very different than it does for small business. Sure. And so now that I live here, it's only been 3 years in Washington. Because of the networking and local community, I feel like I have more genuine connections and more friends and better relationships than I had in a lifetime of living somewhere else. So.
You know, I also say it's like creating adult friendships, right?
Yeah.
Like once you're out of school, you're not meeting people. So I feel like going to these networking events, I've made friends, but you're also making business. So it's like, you know, I know obviously we can get friend zoned, and that's an okay thing sometimes.
But sometimes you need the friend more than you need the business.
Right. No one knows you like another entrepreneur. We'll put it that way, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So
I would love to know, and of course, everyone who's just joining us now, if you have any questions, please make sure to comment below. And I'm so excited to see you here, Katie and Anna. Like, I love the support, so thank you for being here. But what are some of the biggest pitfalls and mistakes that you see people make when it comes to networking? So now we're all inspired, right?
Yeah.
We know we should be networking. It's good for us, but we can oftentimes make mistakes. So what are some things that we want to kind of look out for?
Well, something I see in newer business owners is they over network. So they'll try to go to every single event out there, and they spend so much time focused on going to the events and meeting people that they forget to actually follow up and focus on the connections they have. And so if you don't have the time to follow up with the people that you meet and build those relationships, save yourself some time. Don't go to every event, right? Like, you're just wasting time if you don't have time to follow up, because nothing's going to come of it if you don't follow up. And Rachel, even though you might have fallen into the trap of over networking, your follow up is stellar. So
Thank you.
You didn't fall into that one.
Yes.
And then I see the other side where it's an established business owner and things are going really great, and they've gotten so busy that they completely get rid of networking altogether. Like, that's the first thing they let go of. They're like, well, I don't need that anymore. Yep. Except business is cyclical. Ups and downs happen. So I think don't completely step away from it. Just find something more sustainable. Maybe something you go to just once a month that you can fit into your schedule, because you want to have those resources there for when you do need something. And it can be hard to reestablish those relationships once you let them go.
Yeah. I also want to remind, you know, we're talking in the online space right now.
Sure.
But networking on social media is the same as in person, right? You're still getting followers. You're making connections online. I would imagine that many of you also meet people one-on-one through coffee chats on Zoom and whatnot. So it's the same idea when you're connecting with people online. This is just now in an in-person space, right?
Right.
And I also want to make sure that we answer this question from Anna Jo. She asked, do you pitch during networking? And I want you to answer this as well, Catherine, because Catherine, you just amaze me when it comes to sales. Like I learn from you. And so I would love for you to answer that. And then also Anna Jo said, love the part about following up. It's a game changer and it makes it so meaningful. So let's go back to that question. Do you pitch during networking?
That depends on the scenario. So, what I really find important is just having a genuine conversation with that person and sharing what you do. But giving a little, being curious, creating that curiosity for them. If they're not asking me questions, if they're not truly interested, I'm not gonna pitch to them, right? It's all about watching for those buying signals. If they are asking me questions about my business and about what I do and how I do it, I will inquire if that's something that they want to explore and invite them to have a conversation with me. Absolutely, because if not, that's a missed opportunity in networking. But if they aren't giving me those buying signals, then no, just have a conversation with them, enjoy it, see where it goes. Right. A plug for this book I'm reading.
I love it.
Pull it out. It's by Nikki Rausch. I don't actually know her, but I know I have her book and I love it. This is The Selling Staircase. She also has one on buying signals. Really great tip for relationship building and selling.
Yeah.
So check it out.
I like what you said is just because you're talking to someone, it doesn't mean that they're actually interested in the work that you do. And so unless someone's specifically asking you, I probably wouldn't pitch. And this reminds me of last night. I was at a networking event and someone just walked up to me and handed me their card. And I was like, oh, I don't even know your name yet. Like, I don't know what you do. And I was like, okay, being who I am, I'm like, let's slow down. Yeah. And as you know, I'm so focused on asking open-ended questions. I know Anna Jo, you know that as well. And so I was like, okay, tell me more about what you do. How did you get started? Like, what made you start your business? Like, let's learn more. And then we were able to connect. And so to me, kind of handing that business card and pitching is no different than cold pitching online, right? Like it's completely out of the blue. No one asked you about it. And so if you really want to get to that point of pitching, then I would just ask some open-ended questions, learn more about them, and let that kind of come up organically. And like you said, when people start asking you questions in return, that could be an opportunity to talk about yourself. But I wouldn't say you probably should pitch that first meeting necessarily unless someone asks you. It might come up a little bit more later.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the type of questions they're asking.
Right.
And you have
to
use that gut feeling, right? Like you have to make that decision then. But I never give someone my business card if they haven't asked for it.
You have made me think about that more. I will say, because we both do so much networking. I'm starting to notice how many people just hand me their business card. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to follow up, right? Yeah. But most people don't. And so you're almost like you're wasting this energy and time trying to meet everybody in the room, passing out your business card, but nobody's going to remember you because you're not having conversations. You're not building a connection with them. Yeah. And so then, I can tell you I did some networking this week. Admittedly, I didn't do so well with following up. So that is my focus today. And not one person from any event that I've met has followed up with me. Not one.
Yeah. It's shocking the amount of times I go to an event and someone says, they want to, reach out to me or follow up, and I never hear from them whatsoever. There's a really good, I'll share my networking tip on how to get around that. So if someone does want to follow up with you or meet with you, save yourself both time and just go ahead and put it on your calendar right then. So if you do want to meet for a coffee, if you both genuinely want to meet for a coffee or go have lunch or just talk about each other's business and learn more virtually, do it right then and there. We all have our calendars on our phones. You'll save yourself a ton of time and them a ton of time. And then it actually happens. So just do it in the moment. I think preparing for this workshop that we're doing, Rachel, it's the one thing, I used to do that all the time. And for some reason I'd stepped away from it. And I was like, why did I do that? So at the last networking event I attended, I made that my focus. And I have 3 conversations already scheduled with people.
I love it.
And I didn't have to go and do any follow-up.
Right.
It's already on the books.
Yes. You've got me thinking about that more too, I will say. And it's it saves time. We're all trying to save time, right? We're all busy.
Yeah,
We all have full schedules. So why not just do it right then and there and make it happen, right?
exactly.
Because there's always going to be excuses later or you forget or something.
Yeah.
And
It
then, and
also helps you
yeah,
weed out if someone's genuinely interested in having a conversation with you or
yeah,
not. Because if they're
yeah,
not willing to book that right then, maybe they have a genuine excuse, who knows? And I'm not saying not to follow up with
mhm,
them, but it really
yeah,
kind of gives you some insight onto how genuine they're being about
yeah.
wanting to connect with you.
You know, and I think that, and I want to answer this question too from Anna Joe. It really, like, networking is great because people are getting to hear you, they're seeing your body language, they're speaking with you, they're getting exposure to you, but it's really in those one-on-ones and that follow-up is where you really now start to find connections in business and
Yeah.
grow. And I know if I wasn't doing that, I would not be where I am now. And so, yes, it takes extra time. Yes, you're adding to your calendar to meet people, but it's worth it. And it is a long-term game. I know you say that often as well. So really take that time to get to know people, invest in others, and I promise they're going to invest in you in return. They always do. So, and Anna Joe, you said, how do you make others curious about you and your business? Any key questions or comments that you use? And I love this. This is like exactly what I'm going to be talking about at our workshop. So,
Yeah, I'll let you take that one first then,
okay.
Rachel.
So I always say that you will always have your chance to talk. And when we're at a networking event, we focus so strongly on like, I need to talk about what I do and people need to know who I am and they need to know my services. And hopefully they're interested enough and they want to know more, right? But everyone there is thinking the same. So what I try to take is the approach of leading, hi, I'm Rachel. What's your name? Tell me more about what you do. How did you get started? So I really start leading with some open-ended questions like who, what, where, when, why. Like, how did you hear about this event tonight? Tell me more about what brought you here, or what's a cool project you've been working on, or tell me what your perspective is on something within your industry, right? Kind of get them talking. And what that's going to do, well, sales psychology says people love to talk about themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so when we get people talking about themselves, which we are through open-ended questions, it creates this really positive feeling and experience. And so now they're going to associate those positive feelings with you in return. And so naturally, people will ask you in return about you. And if they don't, they weren't interested and you didn't waste your time, right? And usually the conversation will end quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say that if you lead with asking about others, you will always have your chance to talk. And then I also think that they'll ask you better questions in return and
Yeah.
be more genuinely interested in what you have to say.
Yeah. No, great advice, Rachel. And to answer, like to kind of
Mm-hmm.
add a little more to Anna's question about how you make others curious about your business. Um, it's always interesting, I see a lot of people as soon as they meet me and I ask them what they do, or they just will like word vomit their entire elevator
Mm-hmm.
pitch that may be way too long. So it's really thinking like, you don't need to tell me everything you do in one
Mm-hmm.
sentence and not take a breath. Just give them a tidbit that's like, oh, share with them how you solved a problem, or how you
Yeah.
solve your client's problem, or how your product does. And just leave it there. Just let that sit with them before you like continue going on. Because it'll make them think and they'll probably have a question for you about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget. Here's just an example of this. I was at a different networking event a month ago, and this guy walked up to me, handed me his card, told me what he did, who he was, and all that. And then he was like, "What do you do?" And I said, "I do sales coaching." He goes, "Oh, how did I do?" And I'm like, "Am I supposed to tell you? Like, you basically led with yourself and made it about you? Like, like I
You're like,
get
you
it.
didn't do
I
great.
totally get it. But like and so then that was kind of the conversation. It didn't really go beyond that. He was not interested in getting to know who I was or making a connection that way. He was just very there for himself, as most of us are. And I saw him a week later and same thing. And I said, "Oh yeah, we met last week, remember, at this event?" And he goes, "Oh no, I don't remember you."
Oh,
And so that's what happens too, is that you're like spending all this time connecting people and you're hustling, right? But then you're not even remembering the people that you've met and you're not building actual connections. I wasn't, and he wasn't that, I mean, he was memorable to me because that situation, but
right.
I am never going to reach out to him for actual business, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to reach out to the person who took the time to ask me questions, to get to know me, who does invest in me, who does care, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to, it's the transactional feeling, right? So,
Absolutely. Networking is
yeah. Yeah.
not
Oops.
transactional.
Yes. Um,
Do you have any other questions for us?
Yeah, I love this. I love all these questions that we're getting. These are so good. And there's no shame in asking, like, hey, like, how can I do this better, right? We can't
Mm-hmm.
possibly know how to do everything. And, I know that I'm getting better through collaborating with you, Catherine, and
Oh,
also
thank you.
just going to more networking events
Yeah.
too, right? It's just you're practicing every time you go, you're seeing what's landing and what's not, and learning from others, really.
Yeah. I want to share briefly, one of my members of one of my groups, they did a really fun exercise yesterday on connecting and really pointed out the fact, like, when you're at a networking event, be that connector, introduce people. It goes a long way because they then remember you as helping them.
Correct. Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like my favorite thing to do. I'm like, you know what? I learn what you do. I know it's probably not going to work between us, but maybe I know someone in this room.
Yeah.
And I just like genuinely help you because, again, you can't meet everybody at a networking event. Last night, there was like 150 people at this event. I was literally not going to meet everybody,
No way.
especially if I wanted to kind of build a little bit of a connection. So if I can do something to help someone meet someone quicker, why would I not want to? Right?
Yeah. I think, like we talked about in our LinkedIn audio event,
Mm-hmm.
um, create your networking team. Networking is a team sport. Find your team that's going to be your resources to help connect you to the people you need to. We can't all do it alone. So,
Yeah. And I love what you said, Danny. You said it's so rewarding to connect people. And Anna, Joe, I'm so happy that you're loving this live as well. So thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. So I guess the only thing I will say here in terms of the sales aspect, it's like, okay, we're doing all this networking, we're meeting people. Do we pitch? Do we
mhm.
not pitch? Like, how do we get to that point of sales? And I think that, again, I say always lead with open-ended questions. You're going to learn about people and you're
Right.
going to know if you can help them or not. And at some point, like, just ask, right? Just
Yeah.
ask someone, like, hey, have you considered this before? Or, you know, you keep telling me this. Do you know that I offer this service and I can really see where I'm helping you? And that's like this place of serving. And you
hmm
almost disservice yourself by not bringing it up, because if you see something that you can fix and help and have a solution to, like, why would you not want to tell someone?
Yeah. And people are waiting for you to ask because they will sometimes think, oh, maybe they don't want to do business with me. And that's why they've never asked
Mm.
to help me.
Right? Or they don't know how to,
Yeah.
or they don't know that next step, right? It sounds so silly, but if you've been getting to know someone enough, they keep expressing things to you, bring it up. Like, okay, I love this saying, the answer is always no unless you
Right.
ask,
Yeah.
right? But I would not do it immediately,
Yeah.
right?
Don't
Like, you gotta
start that
like,
way. Don't start there.
you gotta schmooze people, romance it a little bit, right?
Make sure it's
Yes,
actually something they need.
right. But you can't possibly know if you're not asking questions, right? And the trick to
Exactly.
sales is being able to connect it with what they're telling you and then help them paint the picture and how that fits in. And so always lead with open-ended questions. So,
Rachel, I know not everyone's local to our area because
yeah.
social media is the really cool thing is you can be anywhere, but I'd love to invite those who are near us to our upcoming event.
Yes.
Shall we share with them?
Yes. Will you do the honors?
Yes, thank you. So for those of you who are in the greater Seattle area, Rachel and I are hosting a workshop on how to make networking work for you, how to effectively network, right? And how to take that from networking to sales. So some of these questions you had are perfect. We're going to actually touch on that during the workshop, and you will leave with tangible things to put into action. It is going to be on Wednesday, October 18th at 8:30 in the morning in Kirkland at Windermere Real Estate. And if you are interested or near us and want to join us for that, we have a link for you to register that we'll provide to you.
Yes. And of course, there's going to be food, and you can't go to a networking workshop without networking. So, whatever we teach you, you're going to have the opportunity to now put that into practice. And of course, we have exercises built into the workshop so that you
Yeah.
can practice ahead of time. But spots are quite limited at this point. So, if you're thinking about going, just RSVP. We would love to see you there. It's a completely complimentary event and a great way to meet others in this community that you might have never met before. And again, it only takes one person. So we're really excited. I know Catherine and I have put a lot into this. Oh, yay, Danny. I hope that you're able to come. I would love to see you again. And you're not too far. So I think this would be a great opportunity. And Anna, we would love to come to New York City.
Right?
That would be such a, I would love that. You can, if you'll host us, we'll come, right? Or
Our
maybe you'll even
networking
come to Seattle.
roadshow.
Yes, I love it. Traveling. Yes. So,
Yeah.
but yes, the link is in bio, in my bio. I don't know if it's in yours, Catherine, but you can always send us a DM. We're happy to send you the
Yeah.
link. It's also on the Kirkland Chamber website, so you're welcome to take a peek there as well. But you absolutely do not have to be a chamber member to go. We just want to help support you. So we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Yes,
Thanks for having me on here, Rachel.
thank you. And any last words you'd like to say about networking, Catherine?
Ooh, I feel like I shared my tip of the day, which was just set that appointment. Like, do it in the moment. Don't wait around to send an email and figure out when you're going to meet. Just do it right then.
Yes.
I
And
promise it'll benefit you.
if you think that was good, I can tell you Catherine's got some other gems built into this workshop that blow my mind on ideas. And I'm like, oh, that was so good. Why did I not think about that? So you're definitely going to walk away with some really good tips. So, thank you for being here, Catherine. Thank you to everyone who joined us. We appreciate you, and hopefully you feel inspired.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.